All right, I wanted to get into your Arborist file before I really started doing any of the greenkeeper checks and show you a few things so you kind of understand a little bit about what's going on with performance. John, ta- John has taught me a lot, and sometimes he gets way over my head and uses a lot of computer terminology that I don't fully understand. But basically, when this thing is having to render all of this stuff out to whatever distance we set the render distance out, and the more items that's in a biome, the more it has to work. It uses something called a draw call. So when it looks out here at this, right now I'm looking at this grass that you've got along the trees. When it looks at this, it sees every one of these items that you've got. And you've got, I think I counted either 17, 18 items in the grass biome alone. So it's having to go out here and it says, this item I have to render this many times. Then this item I have to render this many times. And that takes a lot of draw calls. So it's going back and forth and having to draw these items. That takes a lot of performance. So in the future, and we're not going to mess with it here because you've already got this one done, but the less items in the biome that you can do, the better. I mean, you still can get the same look that you're wanting here. Most of these small ones you're not seeing except for right up here close. So you don't need quite as many as you've got in here. So the other thing we can do is these smaller items you can't see way out. So what we're going to do, you see, this is one of them. We can isolate it, and you can't even really see it when I isolate it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the render distance factor on this particular grass, and we're just going to pull it back up to, oh gosh, maybe say 150. Now, we won't want to do this with the longer ones because then you get kind of a pop up as you go along. But with these shorter ones, we're going to play with almost every one of them. Um, what I'm going to do, I tell you what, I'm going to pause where this video does not get long, and I'm going to get the smaller ones reduced back. Then I'll stop on the longer ones. All right, I'm going to pop back in here. This is one of the longer ones. So you'll actually be able to see this one kind of disappear and reappear as we take it back and out. Now that's with nothing else there. So you can see it's very noticeable. But if we unisolate it and we've got these tall plants here, I can totally take that thing out and you don't even notice it's gone. So that's the kind of waste in performance that you need to look at when you're doing some of these biomes. So we'll leave it in there just so you have it when you're up close, but there's no need to extend that out any farther than that. All right, I'm going to pause and I'll come back in a second. All right, so we're back. I've reduced those smaller grasses. You can tell you can't even see anything that I've done. So I've definitely increased your performance a little bit with that alone. Now, the other thing that you've got is this tree biome. And you can see where it begins and where your grasses end. I didn't even mean to hit that. I was wanting to go to the biome, edit biome. This one, you've got like 20 items or so in here. Again, it's just not needed. All of these small grasses, and I'm not going to do it because it's not my biome, but in an area like this, you could probably delete every one of those small grasses and never know it. And that's going to help. Just doing that will help performance. But I'm not going to do that because I don't want to mess with your stuff. But you've got a lot of really high fry items in here, trees. So if we look at LOD settings, and you always want to do this when you're adding items in. So this CE tree, which they look great, but the difference between LOD 0 and LOD 1 is huge. We're talking per tree a little over 8,000. So, I mean, it halves the try count per tree. And if we isolate it, so you've got that one. You've got that one in there and you're not even using it. Okay, well, never mind. We'll get back to a different one. Uh, let's see. That one, at 6,500, that's not bad. I probably would leave that one alone because that one may, let's see where it is. So that difference between LOD 0, so we're at 1, LOD 0. So this is what I play with. So you can tell there's not a ton of difference there, but there's a little between LOD 0 and 1. It's more the fullness of the top. So I kind of like leaving that one at 1. So we're going to leave that one alone. Let's go to a different one. Not a huge difference there. So I probably would leave that one alone. Here's one, this Forest Large Beech. It is huge difference between LOD 0, 22,000 down to 5,000. So 17,000 tries for each one of these trees difference in the LOD setting. And if you look at, I think this is the one that I actually, yeah, you can't tell hardly any difference. Now, if it's out by itself, you can. So if you've got some of these quick planted, you may want to copy and paste this over to a quick plant and change it out. But in this trees, there we go. So when it's in here, you can't tell it's changing. So that one I would reduce down to where only 37 meters out do you get the LOD 0, and that will save a huge performance hit. And we're going to do that on several of these. So this one, it's another one that you're not going to be able to tell much difference. This one actually looks a little more full at the LOD 1 versus the LOD 0. So when I've got this one in a biome out like a forest, I always reduce this one because I actually like this better. Like if you look at it here, this forest kind of fills out a little bit more with the 0 versus with the 1 versus the 0. So I'll reduce that one down. Again, we're cutting 8,000 per tree. NB, let's see what that one looks like. Because that's another 8,000 per tree. Yeah, I would reduce that one down. You can look at, so that's LOD 0 right there. And if we drop it down to 1, I don't know about you, but I kind of like that look better at LOD 1 versus the LOD 0. So we're going to leave that one there. These, you got to be careful with these. The LOD 1 on these sometimes, that's not bad. And we're saving about 6,000. So I'm going to drop that one down. That one, there's not much gain in reducing it. All of the CE trees, there's a huge gain dropping them. I mean, this is 12,000 per tree. And again, I mean, depending on where you've got this tree, if you've got it individually planted, sometimes I'll leave it at 0, but in a forest, so if we've got it in this forest, you can't tell a difference. And like I said, again, I like this one, the LOD 1 in a forest, not out by itself, but in a forest. I like it better because it's more full and it really fills in the thickness of it. If you watch right here, watch this area right here, you can see when I go to 0, back to 1, it actually fills in more at that level there. See if I can try to shorten this thing. All right, so these are all of your grasses. I'm going to do the same thing with your grasses. The short ones, I'm going to really reduce them down. I'm going to pause right here for a second. All right, so I got all of that adjusted now. I'm going to go back in and run a bench with these settings just to show you a comparison. And then you can go in and you can kind of play. A lot of people just really don't understand the whole performance aspect of Arborist. And it's got a lot of little intricacies, and it definitely can be confusing. But I thought I'd give you a little video just to kind of show you. I know you like videos, and I do too. But I thought I'd give you a couple of little pointers there, and it's stuff that you can take and really kind of think through instead of just grabbing somebody else's biome and not really knowing what they've done with it. So I'm going to stop here. I'll post a picture of the bench, and I'll let you kind of play with your course. And when you post an update, then I'll go back in and I'll do the complete testing on it.